Hello everybody. I'm thrilled that I can share this exercise video with you from my backyard. I am sitting in a chair that doesn't have any armrests, but you feel free to sit in whatever chair feels comfortable for you, where you feel like you have some good mobility through your upper body. And with this video, we are going to focus on the warming up, but focusing on the lower body and also getting up and out of the chair. So please do what you feel comfortable doing. The focus will be on lower body strength, some balance, and flexibility. So again, just some reminders that you are doing what feels comfortable for you and your strength. When you are getting up and out of the chair, it is good to have something that you can hold onto. Just in case you're feeling a little unstable, nice to be able to reach out to something that is very stable. And I'm also sitting on a very stable chair. Another reminder to stay well hydrated, and it could be that you drink a glass of water before class and also after class, or maybe even during. And I also have a variety of weights. Well, if you would like to add a little bit to the exercises that we're doing, I've got a set of weights, but I also have some cans, some little bottles of water. So whatever you feel like is appropriate that you can have that adds a little bit to the challenge of the exercises. So I'm going to start out doing a warm-up from head to toe, and I'm scooching towards the front of my chair. So when I'm sitting towards the back of the chair, I'm letting the chair take on some of that work that my core will do when I'm sitting more towards the front. So I'm already engaging my core muscles, my abdominal muscles, my back muscles, by moving away from the back of the chair. And by sitting in the front, I have a little bit more room, more mobility for my upper and lower body. So let's go ahead and get started just with our posture check. So I'm going to lift my shoulders, I'm going to bring them back and set them down. And from here, let's feel free to close your eyes because we're working on head and neck. So everything stays quiet in the upper and lower body except for the head and the neck. And let's start with bringing the chin down towards the floor. So angling the head forward and feeling the stretch in the back of the neck. Inhale and exhale. Everything is nice and slow and controlled. Let's level the chin and then bring the chin up towards the ceiling, or in my case, it's the sky. I'm looking up into a tree. And from here, I'm going to turn my head in one direction and back to the middle, and then turn in the other direction. And back to the middle, and back to that level neutral position. From here, let's go ahead and angle the head to the side, so ear towards the shoulder, and this is where you can add your hand, arm, resting on your ear. Good, getting a little bit more, so not pulling down, just using the weight of that arm to get a little bit more sensation out of this stretch here in the side of the neck. And let's try that on the other side. So angling the ear towards the shoulder and maybe resting your hand on the side of your head. And it sounds like the birds are joining in with us this morning. Let's go ahead and turn either to the right or to the left, and then angle the chin down towards the shoulder. Good. And back to neutral, and then turn in the other direction and angle the chin down towards the shoulder. And I definitely can detect a difference in my body in terms of my range of motion. So it's a little bit trickier for me when I'm angled in this direction. So feel free to spend more time on the side that feels like it could use a little more work, where you don't feel as much mobility. Then let's go ahead and rotate the head in one direction. So sometimes I give the cue of visualizing that there is a marker in the top of your head. Pick the color, and you are basically now retracing a circle that you made. So head went in clockwise and counterclockwise position. Good. From here, let's go ahead and stretch out the fingers by opening and closing the hand. So I'm making a fist and then I'm stretching out those fingers. And again, making a fist, stretching out the fingers, wiggling them. Maybe I'm getting ready to practice piano. Wiggling the fingers. And then let's go ahead and rotate through the wrists. Rotating in one direction and then the other. Good. You can also maybe pull back gently on the fingers and working through the wrist, holding, and trying that on the other side. Good. Just a gentle pull. Good. And then let's go ahead and extend the arms out to the side. Let's lift the fingertips up towards the ceiling and then push down. Good. You should be feeling the sensation all the way from the fingertips into the shoulders. Good. Pushing down. So just about at 1 foot, you're lifting up with the arms and then lifting down. So about a 1 foot range of motion here. And then let's do that with the fingertips pointing down. Good. And then palms up. Let's do those shoulder touches. Good. So that takes a little bit of that tension off of the shoulders when you're touching. Good. When you have those arms extended all the way to the side, you're using your arms as your weight, and that might fatigue the shoulders. And now I've got my arms in front, parallel to the floor or to the ground, and then touching shoulders. Good. And then from here, let's bring the arms out into goalpost style. So arms are bent at 90 degrees, palms are facing away from you. We're going to bring the hands and the elbows in front of the body. So really stretching through those upper posture muscles in the back. And then I'm bringing the arms back and I'm pinching the shoulder blades together. Good, holding here. And then I'll do that one more time, bringing the hands and elbows in front of the body, and I'll do those overhead lifts. So you've typically seen these in my warm-ups. Good, lifting those hands up and overhead and then back to that neutral position. Let's bring the arms out again, goalpost style, and now we're going to rotate. So as if we're resting our arms on a table, definitely fatiguing those shoulder muscles a little bit, working on that muscle endurance. And then we're going to lower those hands so that palms are facing away from you. So we're rotating. Good. And back to that position where your arms feel like they're resting on a table. And let's go ahead and recover. So let's lift and lower through the shoulders and actually do some big reverse shoulder circles. So I'm lifting, bringing the shoulders back down and all the way around. Reverse shoulder circles. Let's do that to the front. Good, so big forward shoulder circles. And feel free during the course of your day to reset your posture, which is that lifting the shoulders, bringing them back, and setting them down, because we do have this tendency to roll forward as we're sitting or to lean forward and let that back arch. So we want to make sure that we're sitting with good posture, ears over shoulders, over hips, and as we're standing, over knees, over ankles. And we'll go over that again when we stand up. Let's again extend the arms out to the side and do that rotating through the upper body. So a little rotation here as we follow our gaze back to our arm and our hand that's now behind. Good, holding and then slowly coming back to this neutral position, facing forward, and then I'm turning. Again, I'm feeling that, yeah, my mobility is not quite the same when I'm rotating in the other direction. So I'm going to spend an extra few seconds here, looking back over my shoulder. Good. And facing front again. Now I'm going to cross my arms on my shoulders. I'm again still sitting more towards the front of the chair, and we're working on those chair sit-ups. I'm leaning back, feeling for the back of the chair, and then sitting up again. I'm going to turn so that you can see that a little bit better. There's no back to the chair here, so I'm going to just guess. I'm angling back, bracing myself in the middle. So bracing in the abdominal area, the back area, hinging back from the hips, leaning back, inhaling, exhaling the whole time. So with anything that we're doing, we're not holding our breath. Just a continuous breathing. Good, let's do 2 more like this. Lean back and hold and sit up. I'm feeling some mosquitoes here. And lean back and come back. Excellent. Now we're going to face forward, and we're going to continue with that abdominal work. So as I'm lifting and lowering one leg at a time, I'm really working the lower abdominal muscles. So feel free to also do some of these exercises, especially in the lower body now as we're getting into the lower body warm up and strengthening and flexibility, to do these before you stand up. So good thing after you've been sitting for a little while and everything is kind of quiet with the lower body, that you do things to get yourself ready to stand. So marching in place like this is a really good one. So you're getting that blood flowing again. You're working on strengthening that core. So think of your core as a strong platform from which you can do things with the upper body and lower body. So really good in terms of helping you get up from a chair and starting to move, starting to walk. Okay, so here we are marching in place, and I'm going to add the same arm. So same arm lifting up as that leg. And you may feel your heart rate going up a little bit. Good, let's take a little rest. Inhale and exhale. And now let's lift the opposite arm and leg as if we were walking, but we're sitting in our chair. So lifting arm and leg. Good. Okay, let's take another deep breath. Inhale and exhale, and then let's take one leg out to the side, then the other. So really working on warming up the hips, and I'm tapping one foot to the side and then the other. Good. And let's work on warming up the toes. So what I'm doing is I'm rapidly taking these little steps. It's almost like I'm running now. And with the toes touching down, my heels are lifted. And what's next? I'm going to lean back and do that with the heels. That's when I'm really engaging the core muscles. So really working on strengthening, bracing in the middle, but still inhaling and exhaling. When you brace in the middle like this, it's tempting to hold your breath, but try to inhale and exhale as regularly as you can. Good. And facing forward again. Let's warm up the knee and then go to the ankle. So let's lift, extend, and bend. Extend and bend. Last time on the side, extend and bend. Let's do that on the other side. I'm lifting my leg, I'm extending and bending, warming up the knee. Extend and bend. Last time, extend and bend. Let's work on our feet and our ankles. So I'm going to lift, extend, and I'm going to point and flex. And point and flex. One more time, point and flex and lower. Other side, I'm lifting the leg, I'm extending. I'm going to point and flex, point and flex, and point and flex. And then I'm going to lift my leg, hug my knee, and rotate through the ankle in one direction. So now visualize that magic marker in your toe in your shoe, and you're making a circle in one direction, and then you're going to retrace the circle in the other direction. Good. I'm staying in this position so that you can see me a little bit better. I'm hugging the other knee. I'm going to rotate. Maybe you can see it better when I do this. And I rotate in one direction, really working on ankle mobility. I'm trying to keep my back relatively straight, and I'm rotating in the other direction. Good. Warming up the ankles. Okay, so this is the part where we're going to get up out of the chair if you feel comfortable doing that. If you feel like you want to stay in the chair, feel free to keep doing some of these exercises where we're marching, you're using your arms, you're bringing one leg out to the side, then the other, some of the upper body things. But for those of you who feel like getting up and out of the chair, we're doing some exercises now called chair squats. And I'm actually going to move the chair like this. And this way you can see better what I'm doing. Both of my legs, lower legs, will be in contact with the chair. I can feel that the chair is right there behind me, so that when I'm doing these exercises, if I feel like, oops, I need to sit down, I've got the chair right behind me. I'm not off to one side, and then as I sit, I'm really only on half the chair. So my feet are shoulder width apart, or maybe a little bit wider. You decide on your base of support. And what we're going to do is, again, feel for the back of the chair with the lower legs, and then we're going to be hinging forward. As we come forward, I'm bringing my arms out in front. It's as if I'm going to sit in the chair, and then I'm deciding not to, pushing my arms down. So we're doing some chair squats as if we're going to sit down in the chair, and then we slowly push down on the arms and come back to standing. So we're going to do counts of 3. We're going to come down on a count of 3. We're holding here on a count of 3, slowly pushing back down, but coming to standing on a count of 3. So very challenging for the quadricep muscles, the hamstrings, the glutes, all the muscles that you use as you get in and out of a chair. So let's do another 5. Down for a count of 3. We're holding here for a count of 3, pushing those arms down, digging through the heels to come back to standing. Good. And down for 3. Let's hold for 3 and come up on a count of 3. Good. Down for 3. Let's hold for 3 and come up on a count of 3. 2 more to go. Good job. Down for 3. Let's hold for 3 and come back to standing for 3. Last one. Down for 3. Hold for 3 and push through those heels and come back to standing. Nice job. Okay, let's move to the side of the chair. And again, I've got a nice stable chair that I can hold onto. And what I'm going to do is come into a standing lunge position where the outside leg is straight behind me. My feet are shoulder width apart, but you can decide if you want a wider base of support. So both feet will be flat on the ground, on the floor, and you can have a wider base of support or shoulder width apart if that feels comfortable for you. So back leg is straight, heel is pushed into the floor. I've got a bend in the front knee. I'm holding onto the chair, and do that please if you need to. Maybe you've got something else to hold on to make you feel like you're secure in your spot. So what I'm trying to get to is a position of balance where I feel that my upper body is nice and straight and I feel like I'm well balanced. I don't necessarily have to hold on to the chair, so trying to get into a position that feels like a good balanced position. From here, I'm going to hold on to the chair because I'm doing something now to the back heel that makes my base of support even less. So I'm lifting the back heel and balancing here and then lowering. And as I lower, I really push that heel into the floor and I feel the stretch now across the hip flexor, another muscle that gets very tight from sitting. So I'm lifting the back heel, challenging balance, and then I'm pushing that heel into the floor, really getting that stretch through the hip flexor. Let's go ahead and lift the back heel and lower. Let's do that 2 more times. Lift the back heel and lower, and lift the back heel and lower. Good. Keeping that back heel lowered, let's go ahead and bend through the front knee just a tiny bit more and really accentuate that stretch. If you lean forward, you won't feel the stretch as much. Try to keep that upper body nice and straight, bending through the front knee, and feel that stretch through the front hip. Good. And then let's relax through the front knee. Last thing that we'll do on this side, we're going to lift that back heel, keep it lifted, and now we're going to lower. Maybe a few inches, maybe a little bit more. Wow, really feeling that strengthening, that engaging of the quadricep muscles. So we're lowering towards the floor. Let's say you're trying to pick something up and you're lifting it up. Good, let's do 2 more like this. Lowering and straightening up. And 1 more time. Lower and straighten up. Good. Okay, we're going to come around to the other side of the chair just so that what we do to one side we're doing on the other. So I'm actually going to turn, I think, like this, right? And I'm now taking the other leg and bringing it back. So same position. I've got the chair to hold on to. I've got upper body is upright, so I'm thinking of head or ear over shoulders over hip. Back leg is straight, heel is pushed into the floor. I've got my feet about shoulder width apart. You can play with that position so that you feel like you're in a good balanced position. From here, let's go ahead and lift and lower through the back heel. So you're lifting, definitely more challenging on the balance. You've got the chair to hold on to, maybe something else. You're lifting and lowering through the back heel. As you push that back heel into the floor, you're feeling that stretch in your heel and also across the front of the hip. Let's lift and lower. We'll do that 2 more times. And lift and lower. Good. Let's get that stretch across the front of the hip a little bit more by bending through the front knee a tiny bit. Again, that accentuates that hip stretch. Again, the hip flexor that gets tight from sitting, and you're holding here. And again, you're using good posture if you lean forward. It definitely takes the tension off of that hip flexor. By standing with good posture, you're going to feel that stretch a little bit more. Good. And now I'm going to hold on because I'm lifting the back heel, and I'm going to lower with both legs. I'm bending and extending. So I'm lowering myself to the floor as if I'm going to pick up a suitcase or something, and then I'm lifting up. Or a gallon of water or milk, and then I'm lifting up. Let's do 3 more like this, lowering. Everything is slow and controlled, holding on if you have various places you want to hold on to, strengthening the quadriceps, actually, and the glutes, and the hamstrings. Good, really good for that getting in and out of the chair, climbing stairs. I think that was 3. and I'm lowering that heel. Good. From here, let's go ahead and have a seat in the chair again. And I realize we haven't used our weights at all, so let's go ahead and grab our weights, because if you decided that you wanted to stay in the chair for this exercise class, you could use the weights, rest them on your legs, and get a little more challenge when you lift and lower the legs. So let's try that right now. If you're using some weights, you can rest them just above the knee on your thigh and lift and lower, and definitely feel a little more challenge because you've got that added weight. So I'm lifting and lowering and lifting and lowering. Let's do that one more time. Lifting and lowering. So that's a good way that you could use the weights to do some leg exercises in the chair. All right. So your options are also whatever you've got in your apartment, but I've also got the little water bottles, I've got cans, whatever you feel like you would like to use for extra. Let's do a final stretch, and let's get that inner thigh stretch. We've done this one, I know, in classes before. We're either using our hands or our elbows as we fold forward, so sitting more towards the front of the chair. I'm pushing against the inside of the knees. If you feel like you have the low back flexibility, you can even use your elbows to push and get a nice inner thigh stretch from here. And I've folded forward. I'm taking some deeper breaths, inhaling and exhaling. And from here you can maybe do another like head to toe check. Whatever you feel like you need through your body, maybe working through the head and the neck, working through the hands and the wrists. Good. And then extending the legs. Let's get a final stretch where we're leaning forward. The stretch comes into the low back, into the glutes, into the back of the legs, the hamstrings. And we're holding this. We're inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. And if it's available to you and you want to get the upper body involved, you can reach your hands towards your thighs, your knees, your shins, whatever is accessible and comfortable for you for a final stretch. Good. And that concludes our lower body focused and core exercise class. Thanks for participating.